Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan McPeak and I'm back and I want to share something with everyone. So please bear with me because I still am kind of new at this, but we're going to try to be true at it, okay? So I would like to talk about a recent experience that I've had, and I've just been holding on to it like many more, I will talk about, I'm sure, over time. But okay, this is about, in order for us to have change in America, there has to be, kind of at the root of the nation, right? So we have all these social media companies now, right? And my personal opinion is a lot of them are used for bad, and there's, I have a personal experience I want to share probably at the end, and I got some Bible verses to go with it that I've written down. Yeah, please forgive me. But I'm gonna jump right into it, okay? So you have YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and whatever else media platforms, right? And they allow their platform to be used for evil. See, there has to be a fine line between using your platform for good and bad. Yes, there should be a free will to use your platform, however, but not for bad. Do you understand? But let me read these and then we'll talk about it, okay? So I want to go over to the first book of Samuel, chapter 28, and let's start at verse 3. It says, Now Samuel had died, and all Israel had lamented for him, and buried him in Ramah, in his own city. And Saul had put the mediums and the spiritists and the magicians out of the land. So it says right here, the king, there's only, one president of America right now, right? So there has to be, someone to put their foot down on this evil, right? So it says that he put all the spiritualists out of the land, the mediums, the psychics, whatever you want to call them, right? But these social media platforms, if you go on them and scroll on the lives, that's all you see is people doing tarot cards, doing readings on people. So they're calling up spirits that have already passed away, right? To either look into people, to break up marriages, to put sickness on people. They like to destroy people's finances. They're doing pure evil against other people. If you remember from the Super Bowl, the Chiefs quarterback with the lady in the stands doing voodoo on him with the thing in her hand, like, it's plain and see for everybody to see. But not only that, by having this on these platforms, it's allowing the younger generation to learn how to do evil. So who is going to step up against it and say, you can't do this on the platforms, right? All right, so let's go to number 5, 1 Samuel 28:5. It says, when Saul saw the camp of the Philistines, he was absolutely terrified. King Saul saw the army and he was terrified, right? All right, verse 6, it says, so Saul inquired of the Lord, but the Lord did not answer him, not by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by the prophets. Verse 7, so Saul instructed his servants to find me a woman who is a medium. So the king searched out this medium, this woman that does evil work, right? She calls up dead spirits, so that I may go to her and inquire of her. His servants replied to him, there is a woman who is a medium in Endor, right? All right, verse 8, so Saul disguised himself and put on other clothing and left, accompanied by 2 of his men. they came to the woman at night and said, use your ritual, right? So they do these rituals to call up these spirits, right? So it says, use your ritual pit to conjure up from me the one I tell you, right? So let me read this verse. John 4:24 says, God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship in the spirit and in the truth. So if God is spirit, right, these people are calling up spirits, right? Of course, we know God gave everyone their spirit, but just for an example, God is a spirit, okay? So Saul disguised himself, put on other clothing, left accompanied by 2 of his men. They came to the woman at night and said, use your ritual pit to conjure up from me the one I tell you. So they're calling up Samuel after he's already passed away. This is the same thing these people do on all of these social media sites. And people pay them money. You know, it's not hard for people in high places to be able to look into this. I don't know what that was. It's not hard for these people to look and see who's paying people to call up spirits, to kill people, to give them anxiety, depression, to mess with their finances. And I got a story that I'm going to share here in a minute, and it probably will blow your minds. Probably some of y'all it won't, but yeah. Okay, verse 11, the woman replied, who is it that I should bring up for you? He said, bring up Samuel. So what are we taking from this? Bring up Samuel. There has to be a point. You know, if we're trying to bring in a better life for America, you know, which has got to be through Jesus, or there is no hope. You know, it don't matter how much money you have, or if the people are not living right, it has nothing to do with it. You know, the money, the pride of the money to be able to live this life that's almost destroyed all of us is the problem. It really is. Sin is the problem. But I want to share this story with everyone of something that's happened to me recently. And it has to do with this topic right here. Calling up evil spirits to attack people, right? So let's just say I'm at this building, right? Where a lot of people get together, right? And you know, I'm the type of guy when I'm in and around a lot of people, usually I'm, you know, pretty happy, smiling. I'm always trying to cheer everybody up, you know, and I like to dance, whatever, you know, help the day go by, right? So a lot of times, a lot of women are attracted, you know, to the light. And a lot of them just want their flesh pleased, straight up. I mean, you know what I mean? And many of them, in today's society, they're not looking for, you know, to stand by a man and build with them, you know, because there's so much involved, you know, drugs, alcohol, just getting orgasms. And yes, I lay it flat out there, you know, I'm not beating around the bush, you know what I mean? Like, they're just looking to please themselves, you know what I'm saying? So when I'm in a room and somebody walks through and they're smiling, and then I got other women, you know, right here, and they're seeing it, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, so let me just give the example and lay it out there. One day, a lady, she asked me, she says, do you drink wine, right? And I'm like, no, I don't drink, you know. And then another day, a guy comes up to me and I'm telling him about the Bible and how it says you don't fornicate, and, you know, you shouldn't be drinking, this and that. And this lady, she sees it and she hears it, right? And then, you know, another week goes by and she's like, well, let me pick you up from, give you a ride to work. And I'm like, I already got a ride, And then another week, well, let me give you a ride to work. And I'm like, man, she is not messing around, And then she's like, one day, it's just like, day after week, they steady coming, steady trying to get to what they want, right? And then this person would be like, she'll be like, do you drink wine? Do you want to come over to my house for dinner? So with everything short, with good discernment, you can figure out pretty much what she's hinting at. You know what I mean? What she wants is someone to please her flesh, right? So one day this girl's walking through, and I mean, she's a pretty girl, and she walks through and she's smiling, she's looking over at me, and I'm smiling back, hey, and then I'm looking back forward to my job or whatever, and yeah. So with all things short, I told this other person that, that she is with someone, and, I'm not looking for love anyway, you know what I mean? And then the person says, well, it's okay, it's 2025, he don't have to know. And I'm like, get out of here, for real? And you might be thinking, what the heck does this have to do with calling up spiritualists, going online to look for these people to attack other people? Well, this is it right here. After this person figures out that I'm not going to sleep with them, that I'm not looking for love, that I'm not trying to come over for wine and dinner and to please you, you know what I mean? After they figure it out, then it turns from wanting to please their flesh to making them smile every day. And you got to figure, just because I'm around, I'm not the type to sit there and be in a bad mood all day, just to, not make you not talk to me or whatever. Like, that's just who I am. I love to laugh and smile. So anyway, one day this person comes up to me and she says, now I want you to think about this with your discernment, if you have any. Yeah, she says, Jonathan, my chest is hurting. Is your chest hurting? And I'm thinking to myself, it hit me. It's like the Lord hit me with it, right? Is this like think about it. If somebody's sick, I'm sick, my nose is running, I got a cough. How are you feeling today? Are you sick? That's like walking up to somebody and saying, my big toe's hurting. Is your big toe hurting? Like, why would my chest be hurting because yours is hurting? Like, hello? Okay, so what does this have to do with the spiritualists? And the government allowing these social media sites to be used for this. My chest was hurting. I never told the lady anything about my chest. I kept having this sharp pain on my chest. Even though I am covered and it would not work, she was trying to find out if my chest was hurt, if what she was doing was working.
Come on, Nugget. Come on, you first. I'll do the asshole first. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so I never told this person that it was actually going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is real life. This is the America that we live in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would just ask that maybe the government look into these media sites. Like, not only that, you're allowing the upbringing, the children. Think about it. Society went from the 2000s to, barely any social media to all social media. So when they go on here and they watch this stuff, then they're going to start practicing what they learn. In order to be able to change America, we need Jesus in the schools, on the social media platforms, at work. But thank God the Lord covers me daily. I've been dealing with these people for about 3 years. They continue to try, and the Lord continues to protect me. And if anyone has seen any of my videos, they know I've come a long way, a very long way. But so imagine how many marriages have been broke up from love spells. Imagine if they wasn't doing it to the quarterback in the stands, he probably would have won. You know? You seen the post about the witches attacking the president, the post not too long ago. Someone has to stand up to it, but this is just my personal experience I wanted to share. I love you guys. Bye.